and it was money. I like to indeed welcome 1907. In Swan Hunters on the time, we just celebrated last September 2007, 100 years. 100 years of what? Of the maiden call of Mauritania. Yes, Mauritania left Swan Hunters 100 years ago last year. She went away. She was considered the most beautiful, the most extravagant floating palace that you never ever forget. I'd like to meet some of the people. Oh, I can see Mr. and Mrs. Astor. Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Rockefeller. Oh, they are indeed all appearing. They're all promenading down the stairwells. They like to compete, they like to be seen. But remember the heydays. A lot of guests always ask, Thomas, can you tell me where there are any entertainments? Where there are what we call computer learning centers? Where's the quizzes for indeed little tokens? No. It was all of you, you were the entertainment. You were the one who were promenading on the open day. You were the one who like to be seen. You were the one indeed who wants to be part of the high society. But I tell you the truth, ladies and gentlemen, it was slowly that we had to divide people in class. It was an upper class of first, it was second or cabin, and of course in the Victorian era I named it steerage, but now in the 1900s, including your own bed linen and also your own country, it is a third class accommodation. She was used her body, all the wonderful sculptures around the ship. Absolutely brilliant. That golden age, that us Cunards, we now indeed competing. Competing completely in a new era. The golden age of transatlantic crossing. And it's the age also of the great queens. The great queens from Swan Hunters up the tide in Newcastle are moving up, appearing outside Glasgow. And you all know, it's the Clydebanks. Clydebanks is the place. Yes, it's the place to give birth. Birth in 1930 to a number. And that number was 534. 534, who's supposed to get it the biggest queen ever indeed crossing the Atlantic. But you all know that in 1931, it was indeed the depression of the 30s who played against all projects. How many indeed companies went bankrupt? Then something has to be done quick. He negotiated indeed with the government and he obtained cash alone, but under the condition that the money is supposed to be granted, but Cunard Line has to indeed get married to our biggest competitor. And you all know, it was White Star. It was White Star, yes. White Star was the biggest competitor always against Cunard, and later on the Germans. Now, the money was granted on the 5th of April 1934. Can you imagine the celebration? Can you imagine how the people from the Clydes, they were running back to the projects? They were indeed surprised how in 18 months that superstructure was all covered in rust. How, and thanks to the Elizabeth, at least I can say that the Second World War was curtailed by a year because of the speed. They were exactly there how they were needed. Times are changing after the war. The girls, they're coming to Southampton. It was the Queen Elizabeth first. She had to go back to be refurbished. But the Queen Mary had to go back. It was a very special mission, but this time it was an operation. They named it Operation Diaper, Operation Baby Carrier. The war brides, the GIs, and all the youngsters, they went back to New York. And ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you all, right here in the Midship Slough, in 2004, on our last crossing the Atlantic, there were 40 ladies sitting there, listening to me. And as soon as I mentioned the war brides, 40 ladies stand up and said, thanks to the Mary Elizabeth, we were the war brides. We were the ones who were safely delivered back home, and they were traveling back indeed this time on the QE2. To the canal, people were saying Cunard must be out of the mind. They lost the Mary Elizabeth, now they're coming with something else. Yeah. It was Dr. John Brown who indeed personally designed her. The Q4. Yes. The Q4 was supposed to be lighter. Half still all the upper part is aluminium. And it's not the aluminium used in your kitchen now. And you know what it is? It was John Brown and the engineers. They went to the competitors. They went to the United States. They brought magnets with them. They worked indeed very discreetly to find out how much indeed we have aluminium on board the famous United States. They came to the point that QE2 also, she's going to be half and half. She has to be fast. She has to be lighter. And I'll tell you the truth, it happened. The Q4. The Q4 with the number 736. Remember, 736. The keel. In 1965, when the steel was cut, put everything in place. There from the dust is rising 963 feet long. The superstructure slowly disappearing. And it was on the 20th of September 1967 that superstructure was indeed ready to receive the name. The name. A young princess in 1938 with the name Elizabeth. She's been invited, but this time she's the monarch of the British Empire. She is named Queen Elizabeth II. She is the one who comes over to John Brown. She's the one who addresses to the world on the 20th of September. I name you Queen Elizabeth II. And may God bless all of you sailing. Very well received. But if you are a true Scotsman, you said, stop it. What's going on? What's going on? The Queen of England comes to Scotland and addresses to myself that I have a second Queen Elizabeth. That's wrong. Well, she said to the world, again, she's naming after the one that her mother is named in 1938. That's why I used the Arabic too, not the Romanic. It's the second time the name Elizabeth was used. You still can see right there John Brown on the Clyde banks. It was last year in September 2007. We went around Britain. We went as far as Cunard, yes. Because you all know you cannot go down to the Clyde banks. There's nothing there anymore. They left us grain. They call it a Titan. That grain over 100 years old who supervised, who helped to build the Greeks. Today is an attraction. When we went to Cunard, we received that royal send-off when the Majesty the Queen, or by the time that she said to the world again, I name Queen Elizabeth. It's coming. It's coming because we are all on board for celebration. Last year, the 25th Silver Jubilee Cruise. The QE2 and the Queen Mary II in Sydney. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe you saw the New Year's Eve celebration. Maybe you saw the Olympics. What I saw with my own eyes was magic. What you're going to see in New York, it's going to be magic. Why do you think we are celebrating? We are celebrating the last and final World Cruise. We are indeed escorting our sister, the Queen Victoria. We are meeting our big sis, the famous Queen Mary to New York. Because New Yorkers, you were the ones who opened your doors. You were the ones who gave us immigrants the hope of a new world. I know you suffered a lot. I know when you lost the Twin Towers. QE2 was the first commercial ship to arrive in the New York harbor. We were there. We helped. We were part of the grief. You remember Concord. Concord traveling on QE2 and going back home on Concorde. But since 2003, Concorde is gone. He also said farewell. He travels on the 24th of October 2003 around 2:30 in the afternoon, right over the crowd in the early 70s. Remember QE2, she changed. She changed quite a lot. Any of you been here since 1969 on the maiden call? Please stand up. Any of you in the 70s? In the 80s? 90s? Millennium? What about the rest of you? Where you been in the last 48 years? Right, ladies and gentlemen, very important. There have been lots of changes